Welcome back to another video. What's going on, guys? And let's kind of jump right into it. We got the last month or so of comic buys, action figure buys, and so much more. So let's kind of slide right in. My first segment I usually do is LCS Love. I love showing love, if it makes any sense, to my local comic shops. It's what keeps me going, really. It's a great community around me. And my home base, Panther Comics, had a Richard Comley, creator of Captain Canuck, did an in-store signing here, and it was great. A very, very kind, down-to-earth person. It was cool to spend a couple hours, just hanging out, and it was a real pleasure. And getting to watch the Captain Canuck show with Captain Canuck was pretty cool. I mean, that was a neat experience. But yeah, very, very cool. And I got my first print signed. That was a nice PC moment there. And I get to walk away with a nice head sketch, which pretty cool. And Stormwatch Comics had their midnight sale on Black Friday, Black Friday morning, I guess. So after getting stuffed with Thanksgiving dinner, I ran down for my annual sale appearance, and it's always a great time. Bob always treats me well. Ended up with a short box because, of course, I did. Some gems like a Swamp Thing 9 in there. I mean, 75% off. What was it? A buck 50, I think he had on, or something like that. Something crazy. Insane. Great Bernie Wrightston covers, grabs My Republic, and all kinds of stuff like that. Deadly Hands at Kung Fu, that was an awesome grab. 2 Captain Britain mags. You don't see those too often. And, when the price is right, 75% off, you can't go wrong. And this Megadeth cover, just too cool. The leather cover. On the road, honestly, I really wasn't on the road a lot this month. Not extended, at least. No traveling, no interstate commerce going on here. I did hit up an estate sale / auction kind of thing. It was interesting. Sadly, the house had caught fire, and they were selling off everything inside the home. And the guy was a toy and a comic collector, but everything was covered in soot. I mean, it was wrecked head to toe. The guy told me he had comics and then proceeded to not pull them out. And I waited around for a little while, but eventually it got to the point where I had to go to work. So against my better judgment, I kind of folded and headed on to work. But who knows what was in there? Who knows what kind of condition it was in? But based off of the toys, it would not have been a buy for me. Showtime. It's really end of show season, and I think this might be the last show for me for the year. That's not true. I have at least one more show coming up this week. I'll be at. But Chad from the Comic Lair put on a show in New Egypt, and I always love a good local show. I love going in the room where I know most, if not all, the dealers, and it's just a good vibe. Filled the bag from Bob Stormwatch. Ironically, this was before this sale. Had a few gems in there. Bill from Frankenstein had an Ultraman issue I needed, and a book I grabbed from a buddy of mine, a nice Blue Beetle issue. Buddy of mine sold me a Godzilla store exclusive, which is probably the most exciting thing I got there, because those variants are tough. It's not that they're tough, it's just there's so many of them. There's, 60 plus stores, I think, that did a cover for that issue, and so I'm trying to hunt them all down, but it's kind of as I see them, I grab them, because there's just so many of them. I did some dollar bin digging. We found this one for me, much appreciated. The second print on Alpha Flight 106. It's a tough one. It's a book I'm always keeping an eye out for. I think it's a book that could grow over time. And it's just a cool little X-Men key. A whole lot of Star Wars books I grabbed for $1. Some High Republic stuff. Some stuff I talked about in the last episode. Where I talked about, not last video I uploaded. Talking about High Republic spec keys. I want to say 90% of the books I talked about in that video, 80% of the books talked about in that video, I picked up again at Bob's. At least it felt like that. This Corbin special was an awesome PC grab. Just a book I wanted to flip through. Famous Monsters Filmland seem kind of overpriced these days, so when I can find them in the dollar bin, I grab them like that, because, I just like thumbing through them. Kolchak. I did not know there was Kolchak comics, so I found these at the dollar bin. Super, super exciting out at the flea market. Okay, you can't go wrong with the Night Stalker. And 3 for $1. You know, books out there, you can't go wrong. A little jump cut there. Talking about some mail calls. I made a pair of mail calls this month. Nothing too crazy. Got Comic Dunes and Nemesis Prime put on a great whatnot. And somehow I won not one but 2 giveaways. And I had to pick up this Black Panther #1. I mean, I think it was like $5 or something like that. I couldn't leave it there. So that was a must buy. Go check them out if you haven't already. They always put on great shows. And the other one this month was a Japanese Scanners. It was like a promotional book. It was kind of, I've never seen it before. It was very interesting. I love the way the stills are laid out on the inside. I love the inverted coloring, the black and white. It's just so cool. And if you haven't seen my video on Scanners already, check it out on the channel. I did a review for it for October this year. That is such a great movie. And the head pop was kind of neat. Although it did come in slightly bent, but I'm just glad it showed up across the pond. And I gotta keep it on video, of course. I'm always buying horror movies. I'm a horror fanatic. Some classics, some I've never heard of. Blood of the Chupacabras and Shattered Dead were sold to me as terrible films. And I like bad movies, so they were a must-buy for me. Anyway, it's always action figure chaos. Always grabbing figs. This Jason Voorhees, I'm really digging. If you follow my Instagram, you know that I've already been playing with this figure for a little while now. I'm not the best toy photographer. I'm kind of getting there. I'm learning a little bit. But I had a lot of fun messing around with them. I still mess around with them all the time. And now I'm trapped because I'm in love with this 1/12 scale. And there's a lot of really nice ones, some really nice comic ones. I'm going to start collecting all the horror ones, I think. At least all the horror ones that I want. And then from there, like if I see the Blade or the Morbius in person, I might grab them. I don't think I'm ordering them online just yet. But like there's a couple of them I see every day. You know, the Doctor Strange, the Hulk, there's the Magneto I see every day, and they're nice. They're nice. So I'm trying to keep myself from getting too deep in that tool line. And if that wasn't enough, a NECA Jason Voorhees was just an impulse buy that worked out. It's a great figure. I love the zombie Jason look. I love putting him next to this more humanish, simplistic Part 3 Jason. I think it's interesting to see two of them kind of in conjunction with one another. And it comes with, both of them come with great accessories too. They're just awesome figures. And so after Chad's show, me and a buddy of mine ran to Scott's shop in Merchantville, play with this, to celebrate his 30th year of slinging toys. Congrats to him. And of course, he had a sale going on, so I picked up a couple of things. Some highlights. This Fog figure is amazing. I was so mad when it came out. I passed on him. Actually, at Scott's shop, I passed on him. And I'm glad that he had one left. I'm very glad he did, because that's such an awesome figure. Another movie I reviewed, by the way. Go check that out if you haven't already. And I love the light up eyes in it. No Dremel needed. It is just too cool. I just wish you could flick the switch a little easier. The switch is kind of tough to flick over. And then I got 2 very, very tough figures that I'm always looking for from Yamato Takira, which is the Urachi adaptation. I mean, it's really not adapting anything per se, but classic kaiju film. I'm a big kaiju guy. I've always loved. I remember when I was young checking out all 5 of those figures. 6, I think 5, all 5 of the figures, and at the time I just couldn't buy them because I was whatever, but all of them kind of made an imprint on me pretty young in my collecting. So when I picked up the Urachi earlier this year, I was thrilled. I mean, the 8-inch, he's awesome, and picking up these 2, it was I didn't expect to do that at all. So that was very cool. I got 2 more to go. The only downside is the one figure is missing his sword. It's going to be impossible to track a sword down because it's almost impossible to track the figure down. But, who knows? Maybe I will someday. And then this Black Mechagodzilla was a great find, too. It's the other one that, slipped out of my hands when it came out. And, I'm not huge on the Playmates toy line. I have most of them. Um, I'm not huge on it, but for their price point, you really can't go wrong. Um, and then at the flea market, I picked up this Donnie, and for 50 cents, and this Power Ranger figure rounded up to $1, just because when you see him, you see him, you know. And this King Kong was an instant buy for me. It was a steal. I like the additional colors. It makes him stand out around other Kong action figures. And a buddy of mine had picked up these two Ultra Monsters for me, which I greatly appreciate. They are too cool. And again, a buddy of mine picked up this Pops Godzilla, which was pretty neat. I didn't even know they did a Godzilla line for GBK out of the Pop Sodas. So that was very appreciated, very, very cool. And then I got a new category for you guys. New book of the week. Every week comes out, I'm always buying some new book. I've cut back a lot on my new book buying in the last couple years. But I'm always buying something. I don't think a week is really ever going by other than, the COVID a couple months where comics been coming out and I wasn't picking up something. So of course, I gotta talk about something. So that first week, Blackberry 11 dropped. This series is something I look forward to every single month. Those Alex Ross covers never disappoint. And honestly, I'm a little bit behind, but what I've read up to, I've enjoyed. And the Disturbed Dark Messiah #5 ended off this series, published by Opus. If you're a fan of the music, you're a fan of the book. I was hyped to see the book come out. I didn't even know it was a thing until I was doing the ordering. And there's one that I can binge read it. And now that it's all done. On the 8th, Godzilla Monsters and Protectors, All Hail the King #2 dropped. And it's got one mediocre cover. Like, it's okay. It's okay. With the King Ghidorah cover, it's okay. And then there's two other covers that suck. Like, I'm sorry, but they're not good. And this seems like this whole series is going to be kind of like that, where there's a lot of not great covers. But the completionist in me makes me buy him. Then next week, Ultraman, Mysteries of Ultra 7 dropped, issue 4. It's got 2 banger covers. Every single month this book comes out, the covers are amazing. Even the Return of Ultraman, and then they did another one in between this one, I believe. I forget what it was called. But it was that first cover, Return of Ultraman, when Marvel first announced they were doing an Ultraman book. The Alex Ross cover was amazing. I mean, it's beautiful. And the following week had Kamen Rider 01, #1, which that was tough narrowing down to one cover, but there's some cool ones. If you couldn't tell, I guess I'm a big kaiju guy, because, And then the last week, again, is another kaiju book, which is kind of funny. Spectre-Man Heroes is a series that I'm in love. I love the old Spectre-Man TV show. It's probably one of my, if not my favorites of all time. Dr. Gory's the man. And I was a little pissed my foil cover came in damaged, so I'm waiting for Diamond to fix that for me. But on a side note, there was another book that came out that week that was a bit of a sleeper. That Darth Vader cover for, I think it's 28 or something like that. I think the number is. Beautiful cover. I mean, amazing. Darth Vader cover is almost always great. And moving on to the keys. There's not a whole lot of keys picked up this month. Kind of took it a little light again. So, second time in a row saying that. I know it sounds weird. But highlight of the dial I've been digging was a Darker Image #1 newsstand. That is a tough cover to get, and I guess now I just gotta hunt down the rest of those impossible variants. But just finding a newsstand was very exciting. Those newsies on that book specifically is fun. Journey to Mystery is always around. I'm trying to fill out when I can, especially when I find copies like this. So a clean copy of 111 was an instant buy for me, just because the price was right. It was a great cover, great condition. And it's one of those series where I want to collect all the Thor issues because I'm doing the Thor run and I'm most of the way through the Thor run. The problem is those journeys just get super pricey super fast. I mean, first Thor, first Loki, they're grail pieces, at least to me. And then my Strange Tales 135 has been upgraded. It's been in the PC for years and years and years. And Stranko was in the area for Super Jersey. And I secured a signature on this iconic key. Very exciting moment for me. And it's a book I've always cherished having. And his signature was the perfect upgrade. Very, very exciting. You know, not a month goes by that something's got to come out so all this great stuff can come in. So some Fallen Soldiers, Estate Level 216 cover. I had bought it years ago for like a quarter because it was in like a filler bag. So like if you do the math out per book, it was like a quarter is what it cost me. And the book spiked up, and I like the cover, but I wasn't that attached to it. I'd rather take the money from that book and put it into a book I'm more attached to. So it had to go. But overall, not a bad month for comic-conning, and two great figures from that Takira line. Very, very excited, huge deal for me. And then Mezco Jason is amazing. It's one of my favorite figures right now. I have him up on the shelf over there. I mess with him all the time. I always love filling in with figures. The Dark Image Newsy was a great find in the wild. They got Sanchers, meetings, sales, and memories. Makes out for a great run. Thank you all for sticking through the video. If you're not already, follow me here and on Facebook and Instagram for more daily content. And check out the Facebook group Fandoms Unleashed for even more daily content, behind the scenes look at Connor's comics, and great daily discussions. Always posted in there. Always got people posted in there. It's a very, very cool group. And sorry about the cut earlier. I had an issue with the camera switching off. But until the next one, I'll catch you.